What's up, Ryuji here. I'm out here at the Cove in Taiji. This is where historically hunters have killed dolphins. This heavenly place behind me, this beautiful little cove, is actually where countless dolphins have lost their lives. And what we're gonna launch into right now is a little rant that I did on the topic of looking below the surface of what's normal, below the surface of what's beautiful, looking at society deeply, critically thinking about the world on our own, and making the right choice. Anyways, this is a crazy rant. I really enjoy doing it. I hope you can hear me over the crazy fucking rain and wind. In any case, let's launch into it right now and enjoy. This area behind me, the Cove, is such a beautiful place. If you just come here and you have no idea what this place is, you would literally think it's a piece of paradise. That's what this place looks like. The blue water, you can see the sky, the clouds going by. It's just this really heavenly place. And yet, something so horrific goes on here. Dolphins are slaughtered year in and year out. Now, this to me, when I look at this, really makes me think about how, in society it's very easy to look at things on the surface layer. It's really easy to look at things, just what's right in front of us. In the same way that you would come here, see the Cove, and just see it for the physically beautiful place that it is. In society, for example, something that's really normal now is eating animals and eating animal products. You go to KFC and you order a bucket of fried chicken. You go to a steakhouse and you have a nice steak dinner and you celebrate over that. Perhaps you get a promotion, you go to a steak dinner and you just eat steak as a celebration. We have a holiday called in the United States, that's Thanksgiving, where there's a dead turkey in the middle of the table, and you celebrate and be grateful over the body of this turkey. And all this, these are things that are completely normalized in our society. But again, in the same way that you come here and see the Cove as a beautiful thing, that is just looking at the surface layer, because what we're not seeing is that behind that turkey, behind that nice steak dinner, behind a mac and cheese, or even a cake with some eggs in it, were animals who had to suffer and die for those products. In 2018, where 99% of all our animal products comes from factory farming, where animals suffer, animals are mutilated, they're separated from their families, they're raised in confinement, they're essentially seen as property. We have to understand that these industries that use animals for food and that turn live animals into these food products that we buy packaged in the grocery store, see these animals as commodities, because at the end of the day, they're profit-driven industries. What does this mean? This means that all they want to do is create a profit. They want to create a product for us to consume and for them to make a profit of. So the animals' welfare, the animals' happiness, their health is not their concern. And what the industry has figured out is that you don't need happy or healthy animals in order to make a profit. I mean, think about it. At that point, when you're at the steakhouse and you're eating that steak dinner, not only you're not thinking about it, it doesn't matter how that cow lived. It doesn't matter if that cow was unhappy or unhealthy. It doesn't matter if that cow suffered for years before getting there in order for you to eat that steak dinner, because in that moment, that cow is already dead. In that moment, when you're eating that cake and you're enjoying the taste of a sweet lemon cake or something like that, you're not thinking about the fact that, say there's eggs in that thing. That means that chickens had to suffer for that. That means for every female chicken who was born in the hatchery that hatches egg-laying hens, every male chick had to be killed. Male chicks are seen as a waste product in the egg industry. And these are just things that we're not seeing because we're conditioned to look at things on the surface layer. We're conditioned to look at things in a very simplistic manner and ultimately put us at the center of the world. As human beings, we are taught that we are the protagonists of this story, that this whole planet exists for us. I mean, think about, every time that we eat animals, every time that we eat a steak dinner, every time that we eat a fried chicken, we're basically saying that by our actions, not necessarily by our words and our intention, but our actions are dictating that, our taste buds, our pleasure of having this food in our mouth and feeding ourselves is more important than the life of an animal. Me enjoying this meal for 15 minutes is more important than, say, an animal, a pig suffering for 6 months, a chicken suffering for 42 days. That's how fast these animals reach market weight. And that is what we're saying, and every time we do that, we reinforce this idea that we're conditioned with, that our lives and our taste buds, our pleasures, are more important than the lives of animals. And so my invitation here is to really look below the surface, and really look below the surface of not just society, but also yourself. Are you looking at the world from a very selfish perspective? Because, for example, people make arguments like vegan food is more expensive than non-vegan food. First of all, any diet can be expensive or cheap depending on how you go about it. And when people talk about this, they're talking about, say, like products that are supposed to be like burgers or like fried chicken, or you're like, when you buy like mock meats, which mock meat is a term that I don't like at all, and I think it's completely counterproductive, and I think it's just misrepresent these products, but say when you go buy an alternative to chicken, maybe that costs more dollars to us than it does to buy an actual chicken. But the thing we have to consider is that when you're saying that, we are saying that from our perspective. We are saying that for us, it's more expensive. But I think what's important to consider is that for us, buying Gardein chicken might cost a couple bucks more than, say, buying an actual chicken. But on the flip side, that actual chicken had to pay for that meal with their life. And so to say that that is more expensive to actually pay a couple more bucks, I think is a really kind of like selfish way to look at the world and look at the world where it's like I'm the one who's important. It's important that, I pay less, but it's not looking at the holistic picture. It's not looking at it from all different points